Hello bass family, and welcome to Everything Bass with Dale Titus. Today we're doing fundamentals of slap unit 4, and I'm going to introduce you to the Ricochet lick. And basically the Ricochet lick came about, or was named, because in the Old West, you'd someone would shoot and you'd hear "pok-chew," and there was like that too, "ba-da." Well, it's the ricochet part is actually all mutes, and it should be something I think you could grab onto pretty quickly. Again, if you're a Patreon subscriber, you can go and to the patreon.com/everythingbass, find Fundamentals of Slap Unit 4, download the PDF so you have the sheet music with you. If you're not a subscriber, don't worry. I'm gonna do my best to describe what's going on. I think it's pretty should be pretty easy. So let's talk about the basic mechanics behind what a ricochet lick is. And this basically, what I'm going to be demonstrating is exercise 1. So if you want to follow along with the sheet music, go ahead. So the basic idea about a ricochet lick is I just kind of let my fingers flatten out on the strings. I come down with a muted thumb, and I come up with a muted pop. And if I make it one motion where the hand comes down, I hook the finger under the G string and I pop up, then I can get this really cool rhythm. It's just baka, baka, baka. And you can do that as like a setup for any thumb. Because what comes next, now watch, when I do a ricochet, my hand's up. So the next natural motion is to hit it with a thumb. And that's what exercise 1 is. Just to get set up, I'm going to be thumbing the A string, 5th fret on the E string. I'm sorry, the A note, 5th fret on the E string. Then I'm going to do the D note on the 5th fret of the A string. And I'll do 4 of each before I move from one string to the next. So overall, I do just a simple ricochet, come down, thumb. Now the timing is, these are 2 16th notes, 1 E and so it's 1 E and, 2 E and, 3 E and, not triplets. It's going to be da 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 like this. So again, really slowly. Now some people have chosen to make the mute for when I'm thumbing the A on the E string, they'll mute the D string as a pop just to change. It does put a different color or different timbre in there with the percussion, because if you listen, when I pop the D, it might be hard to hear unless you have headphones on. It's a little thicker sound, and when I pop the G, it's a little thinner sound. So you can get some really cool variations. So if you there, I was moving the muted pop from the D string to the G string, and you can hear a difference, and it's kind of cool to play with when you're really kind of dialing in a groove. So what is number 2? Number 2, I'm going to do a descending thumb line. So as in previous units, when I first learned something like this, I take away the percussive part, and I just work on the fundamental notes. In this case, so exercise 2, I'm going to thumb an E 7th fret on the A string. Then I'm going to go to the D, 5th fret. Then I'm going to go to 7th fret on the E string, B. And I'm going to thumb 5th fret A. Then go down to the 3rd fret, G. And then kind of work my way back up. 5, 7, and then 5 on the A string. So slowly, that's going to be E, D, B, A, G, A, B, D. So I'm just kind of going down and coming back up. Now if I put those with the ricochet, I'm going to set up every thumb. So I'm going to play the ricochet lick before every thumb. So it'll be da-ka-ba, da-ka-ba, da-ka-ba. So that's what exercise 2 would sound like. And a little bit faster. Now, the way the line's written, it's easy to loop it and play it over and over. Like that. And again, once you get the mechanics down, go all over. Move that thumb up and down. Try higher strings, try way up on the neck, and see what the tone's like, see what you don't like. It's kind of fun to play with. I really like it. Now, exercise 3 is interesting. This is the same Ricochet lick, and I'm going to follow it with a thumb, but then I'm going to do a hammer-on. So instead of 2 16th notes and an 8th note, it's going to be 4 16th notes. It'll be a Ricochet, and then a thumb note, and a hammer-on. And I'm going to do, if you look on exercise, the third exercise, I'm going to do just the first beat, which is the first Ricochet, a thumb, and a hammer-on. For that part, I'm going to thumb the D on the 5th fret of the A string and a hammer-on. If you haven't done a hammer-on before, all you're doing is with another finger. I don't like using the middle finger, but you might see me change between the ring and the pinky. But it's a hammer-on. It's forcing that finger down so that the string gets shortened and the pitch goes up, like this. And if this is new, just practice this. Forget about the exercise. Just practice that. Now let's put a Ricochet in front of that and see what it sounds like. It's kind of cool. It's got a neat kind of energy to it. It's a little more liquid because of the hammer-on. So it's a neat contrast. The percussion part, the Ricochet, is very like harsh and military. It's very direct. But then the hammer-on is very kind of slinky. So you get this cool kind of duality to the line, which I really like. So let me put this together, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to thumb on this 5th fret on the A string, hammer-on the 7th fret. I'm going to move up, do the 5th fret on the D string, thumbed, hammer-on, go back to my original D to E, then I'm going to go down to the E string and go 5th fret, 7th fret. And you'll notice on the sheet music it's just the same measure repeated twice. So it's going to sound like this, slowly. A little faster. Now again, you can move this all around and you experiment with hammering on half steps, whole steps, or even minor thirds, you know. So there's a lot of fun you can do it. I like to move it around. It's such a cool little addition to your bass lines. If you're looking just to throw in a quick lick in between a normal groove, like on the last half of a measure before you repeat to the verse or something, it's a real simple thing you can throw in. Just take the scale that matches the chord best and experiment with the Ricochet lick with the hammer-ons. I think you'll get some really cool lines out of it. I really like playing it. It's kind of fun to kind of see where I can put it in and where it doesn't disrupt people too much, but it adds a cool energy to the line. Okay, well now we're moving on to the Encore item. And the Encore item for this unit is Grooves for Electric Bass, Essential Patterns and Bass Lines for All Styles by David Keefe. There's so many reasons I'm recommending this, but initially the thought came to me because of some of the emails I've gotten where people are telling me, hey, I've studied scales, I understand arpeggios, I know my fingerboard, but I still don't know how to create good bass lines. And I'm guessing that at that point maybe those students' ears aren't really developed yet where they can transcribe or learn lines off off of a recording. This book is a great way to facilitate that. If I just described you, like you know which scales go with which chords, you know your neck, you know all these things, your technique's solid, but you're just not writing very good bass lines, or you're having a hard time coming up with bass lines. David Keefe, who's just one of my favorite teachers, one of my favorite humans on this planet, I met him at Musicians Institute. He was a teacher there when I was there, and by and large, all the students graduated. We'd do a survey, who was your favorite instructor, and man, so many of them, a majority would say David Keefe, and there's a reason for that. He explains things really well. He's such a great player, and just has a groove that, foundation you can build a church on. So this book gives you examples on different grooves you can play, different ways that you can build a bass line. And there's a recording that you can play along with. So it's kind of the total package for just kind of working out ideas. And that makes a lot of sense. You could be shown how to mix all the colors in the world as a painter, but unless you really start painting and learning how to do shadows and stuff, your paintings aren't going to be very well, aren't going to do very well. This is going to maybe give you that push you need to understand how to build really successful baselines. So I love it. It's available multiple places. I got this one on Amazon.com, but you can find it many places. Any place that sells sheet music usually has it. And it's part of the MI Musicians Institute Private Lesson Series, which is actually really good. And for those of you who've seen videos, some of my other videos, you've noticed I've recommended a lot of them. I do that because I know the teachers. I know I like the method in which they share information, and I think it'll be beneficial for you. All right, so Grooves for Electric Bass by David Keith. Hope you enjoyed this. Practice your ricochets. One last thing, don't go too fast. Slow it down, work it out, be patient with yourself, and I think you'll be able to get over any kind of technical hump at the beginning pretty quickly, and then you can just have fun. All right, guys, thanks for stopping by. Please hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and if you have the interest to and you want to start getting the sheet music to follow along, go to patreon.com/everythingbass, become a subscriber, and you'll have access to all my materials and even more. I have great plans on doing some really fun stuff for the members. All right, guys, take care, keep playing, be loud.